All right, it's 9:56 p.m. These are third parties in relevant position, group stalking at Economy Inn and also on the surveillance cameras. The same group stalker, 8JEZ800, frequently engages in P.O.C. They're sitting in their vehicles, monitoring as I'm walking in the parking lot, patrolling in and out, carrying items, but understand all they're doing is maintaining presence and light together as a group. 7AQC967. The same third-party license plate, 6JZE097, that's the old white male. Group stalker sitting in her car, 7MSA495, 6FIN206, 8Y45059, 7ZWC321. Also, while I'm walking through the parking lot, I'll be seen on cameras right now. And it's 9:57 p.m. I have multiple shadows all around me on the sidewalk as I'm walking through. That is speaking to what they are doing, okay? The environment. BJ76R92, that's a paper plate. 7DAJ462, 8T17947. Third-party group stalker maintaining presence in relevant position, creating light at the driveway of Economy Inn in direct alignment to me. Aware of what I'm saying as I'm saying it. This is license plate 8JIH799. Light activity and touching me while doing so. They're monitoring. 8DST505, 6ZPJ930. The same Gallant. It actually looks like it's an abandoned vehicle. It is a license plate, though. I'm going to read it. 7DMD077. 7ARP570. This is 8KLD016, 19761L2, 6HEG839, 3MVP337. Understand, as I've already shown, and as common sense not only dictates, where you're talking about a government that's monitoring, as I've already established, that's what the state of California is engaged in. I am at Economy Inn reading license plates, which do not reflect the totality of group stalkers that are maintaining presence, okay? I just want to be clear. But also, they're also monitoring as they are systematically driving past on Euclid Avenue, that's patrolling. Driving past on the 60 freeway, that's patrolling. Maintaining presence in the residential apartments across the street, that's a relevant position. They are present. They're monitoring. This is why the state engages in creating substantial light and directed light for purposes of massive monitoring. License plate 90201D1, 7XQX688, 7BAS727. All right, and this is again going to be on surveillance cameras. What I'm doing as I leave the venue of Economy Inn to go to the third-party venue of grocery outlet. Again, I captured on video what are third parties maintaining presence and light activity and audible activity in that parking lot while the state is always stalking by aircraft. On surveillance cameras, you will hear the same group stalker, 7AQC967. She's creating light activity. Understand, as she drives through the driveway of Economy Inn, the state is directing light onto the wall. Her headlights are not that massive, creating that light around that building. She's monitoring with the state. All right, that is the environment speaking to what is criminal monitoring. All right, that is the amplification of audible activity. Those same cars, as I've shown you, they're all one group. The license plates that I'm reading are part of the same group. I am just specifically identifying some of what are the same group. Okay, and let me be clear: these psychopaths are engaged in corporate invasion of privacy. This is why the state is creating what is impossible audible activity inside of my room from Euclid Avenue, or from what is supposed to be, I guess, the 60 freeway. That's the only way that you would claim you're hearing traffic. But under ordinary circumstances, in real life, you are not hearing traffic inside of the hotel room. That is also speaking to what they are engaged in. And the state is doing this 24 hours a day, okay? And by the way, where you have what is a fake sun, what is directed light, this is revealing what is monitoring on a 24-hour basis. I'm really stepping out of my room, seeing 224 engaged in P.O.C. again. She engages in positioning very often, taking her place in position and alignment to my room, especially as I walk in and out to capture what is video of the police stalking, acting in concert with her, and also group stalking by AMR ambulance, by P.O.C. security cameras showing third-party group stalker walking past, a Latino male, blue bottoms, light blue shirt, gray and blue jacket. He's crossing path, and he's engaging in that patrolling conduct while he's in the parking lot as well. Understand the documentation that I've already published about Mayfair Inn, for example. Understand that is what the people of the state of California are doing at the similar venue of Economy Inn. All they are doing is monitoring, okay? They can put a grocery bag in their hand. They can have a baby in their hand. They can engage in housekeeping duties while they're in relevant position. Understand, They're monitoring. And that is all that they are doing while maintaining ongoing awareness of what I am doing, and maintaining ongoing presence and activity, which the state is amplifying. Okay, that's speaking to the environment, where the state is maintaining light, which is speaking to the environment. And this is also that which is speaking to what is occurring on a ceaseless basis. My documentation already has established what the state is engaged in, and it does not change. The state engaging in molesting with directed light at nightfall, the state directing and molesting with light during the day, the state stalking with light on a continuous basis, acting directly via AMR ambulance, Ontario Fire Department, Ontario Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, under all those same hallmarks, okay? The people of the state of California, as I specifically identify them by image or by address or a license plate and whatever else I can get my hands on in order to identify what are criminals, what are sex offenders, what are psychopaths engaged in group demonic conduct, which is criminal. It's monitoring, and it is action that is vicarious on behalf of the entity that is systematically monitoring me and systematically stalking by their presence. And in this way, everything that they are doing is under that fact pattern of what is a government that is monitoring. Okay, and so everyone inside of grocery outlet, I am seeing inside of that venue, all they are doing is group stalking inside of that venue, group stalking in the parking lot, group stalking while they're driving past on the street. And this is the detailed criminal conduct of the entity. Understand, Amazon Prime, as I pointed out in my video, that truck with the Amazon Prime logo on it, that is deliberate conduct, okay? Understand that. There is no chance, there is no coincidence. It is the conduct of the entity that's engaged in monitoring, that is aware of the fact of everything that I identify about its criminal system. And Amazon Prime represents the people of the state of California, and the government monitoring by that third party that is operating that vehicle, representing what is a logo that is Amazon Prime, which is reasonably construed as a threat presented by that brand. Flying those planes over me, creating audible activity, monitoring me, flying those planes over me and stalking everywhere that I go, under what is the same light creation, the same stalking with light, the same stalking with activity inside of anywhere that I'm at, even as I sleep outside. I've shown the ongoing omnipresence of these elements and that behavioral pattern. Amazon Prime, intricate to that, okay? This is with regard to the intentional, deliberate conduct of crossing path that is monitoring, vicariously acting on behalf of the entity that is always stalking by aircraft. This is that which is always coexisting with everything that I'm speaking to, that the people of the state are engaged in, and that the state is engaged in directly, as I identify the state by police, fire, or ambulance, or sheriff's department, for example. Amazon Prime, and this is what I'm getting to, and this is what the documentation has established, and this is based on familiarity with the maliciousness and the psychopath level conduct as I document and what I am subject to as I document it. It is entirely intentional to use that sort of vehicle with that brand on it. And understand that's going to be directly attributed to that brand. Understand that brand represents the people of the state of California. The people of the state of California are the ones operating those vehicles, are the ones providing those instrumentalities of interstate commerce and for purposes of criminally monitoring an American citizen, stalking with those airplanes with that logo on it. That is that which is attributed to the people. If you don't want to be associated with monitoring an American citizen, with sexually violating, then don't provide your airplanes. And understand Amazon Prime is not ignorant of that. Understand Amazon Prime is nothing but a method whereby the people of the state of California engage in creating activity, light activity, and maintaining presence in the path. Understand that. So you are looking at the forest from the trees as I specifically identify them. And so I'm walking back into my room and I am speaking to what I captured on video as I just get all the group stalkers that are around me in relevant position. And I could have stood out there and done a whole lot more, but I just went on into the grocery store. I caught those in my immediate vicinity using light activity, okay, in the parking lot, in the parking spot, and with the turn signal on, creating light activity while he's parked in the car, for example. This is the malicious demented criminal conduct. He's not just sitting there parked in the parking spot with his turn signal on for no reason. Not only is it not serving any purpose while you're sitting, and not only did he turn that on, because when he originally had his vehicle on, and again, by he, and what I'm speaking to, reference the video that I captured as I was approaching grocery outlet. While they are maintaining position, as they're walking out of the store, they are maintaining position. They are one group acting together. At the time in which they are engaging in their conduct, this is specifically relevant. As I have spoken to the behavioral pattern, stalking with activity is that which is occurring occurring with simultaneity to what I am doing as I am doing it. That's a behavioral pattern. And when you are identifying a public entity that is acting vicariously through the people, that is everyone that is around you, and as you identify those who are in close quarters to you, understand you are also not only identifying their identity, understand that there is intent with regard to what they are doing when they are doing it, even how they are doing it, okay? But with regard to the engagement in criminal elements, they're walking in and out of that store pursuant to an ongoing intent to maintain audible activity, to maintain light activity, walking back and forth from their car, exiting their car as I turn around and begin to capture their license plate after they were sitting in their car for that entire time until I turn around and I am foreseeably going to capture their license plate. And this is the creation of light activity as they get out of their car and turn on their car alarms. This is how they're using their vehicles for creating activity while they are group stalking, sitting in their cars in the parking lot. It's not a coincidence. That is not which it is just happening at grocery outlet. This is that which third parties engage in everywhere that I go. This is within the pattern of conduct. This is that which tends to have the same result of what is monitoring. This is how you monitor. This is how a public entity vicariously monitors, vicariously stalks, vicariously creates activity, okay? It is serving the public entity's monitoring system. And that's the significance of what I captured in video. And this third-party group stalker is sitting in his car, turns on his turn signal after I approach the vehicle and recite the license plate, and does so while he's just sitting studying his communication device. And again, whether or not he's actually has a communication device out, it is not necessary. You don't even have to hold up your communication device. Understand the inmates inside of West Valley Jail, Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center, Central Detention Center, they were not holding up communication devices while they were creating ongoing activity, while they were maintaining presence of group stalking, meaning walking past pursuant to that same behavioral pattern. All of them engaged in that corporate invasion of privacy together, meaning aware of what I'm doing, listening to everything that I'm doing, listening to so close with regard to even down to the bodily functions. If your stomach starts growling, they are engaging in creating activity, stalking with activity as they are listening to everything that you are doing, okay? Including while you are in a private space such as the restroom, engaged in any personal activity. That P.O.C. is continuous. And so I am speaking to what I have captured in video, and these are the third-party license plates, not representing all of the third parties who are in relevant position, who are coming onto this venue solely for the purpose for monitoring and leaving and or remaining, which is loitering in relevant position. They are all present representing the government. This is why the state is continuously patrolling. Understand, every third party I'm reciting, the state is continuously stalking. The state continues to fly over this room and around this room and amplifying the sound of airplanes inside of this room. Now understand what I have broken down. What the state is actually doing is the state is actually flying over and flying around, but the state is actually amplifying the sound of plane activity inside of my room. Understand that, because the state engages in the same conduct of creating audible activity, irregardless is not a word, excuse me, regardless of the elevation of that particular airplane or helicopter. Okay, so this is the state that is creating that noise while it is maintaining relevant position, meaning they're group stalking, maintaining presence in my path via aircraft and helicopter, okay? But understand, even if the state still does not have an argument, because even if you want to argue, oh no, we're not creating amplified audible activity, we're not monitoring, we just happen to be continuously flying at a very low elevation over where she is located. Understand, you can't have it both ways. Well, for purposes of monitoring, you can. They also engage in hovering in their airplanes and in their helicopters. They also engage at flying at exceedingly higher elevations where that same amplified volume of that aircraft is occurring inside of the space where I remain, whether I'm indoors or outdoors, by the way. And that is that which is occurring everywhere I'm at, even while I'm kidnapped inside of state facilitating venues belonging to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, all right? So this is what is occurring while I am documenting third parties, all right? The state is always present. That's what stalking is. The state is continuously stalking. The state continues to monitor, creating targeted audible activity. The state continues to stalk with audible activity via aircraft and helicopter on a continuous basis, which would also be seen, observed by my podcast that I document. So even as I'm documenting podcasts or what is captured, it's audible documentation. audio documentation, that I captured years ago, and I am publishing it now on my podcast while the state is engaging in continuous P.O.C. as I do that. And so I'm referencing both. I'm both publishing that which I captured, for example, in 2019, while speaking to what the state is engaging in on April 7th, 2021. This is all relevant to what the state is continuously engaged in. And as I step outside, they are in relevant position, creating audible and light activity, maintaining group presence in the path while the state continues to engage in that pattern of conduct. They are monitoring, and there is no legal excuse whatsoever. They are present under all of those facts, and not only have I shown that, there is no coincidence. Understand the people of the state of California are fully engaged in that which is entirely malicious and demented group conduct. This is demonic activity made manifest. These demons, because that's what they are, you just cannot see. You're looking at the natural, but you are looking at what is the substance of their conduct. No longer having any guise whatsoever. They are group stalking at grocery outlet. They are group stalking driving on the freeway and on the streets of Euclid Avenue, maintaining presence, acting pursuant to the state that fully intends to keep me surrounded at all times. Not only physically, which is group stalking, but also with audible activity and with light activity, which is how you monitor with communication devices. And that is in direct violation of existing federal law, namely 18 U.S.C. section 2261A subsections 1 and subsections 2, and that which shall be enforced against the government. That is systematic infliction of inhumane suffering, S.I.I.S., which shall be federal law, which is speaking to not only am I speaking to, I am literally just publishing the criminal conduct of the government act, and the people of the state are in the shoes of the government. So understand that they're not present in their individual capacities. You are present facilitating a government's ability to threaten my life and my safety and my well-being while you just happen to be creating light activity, not only by your presence, but also by light which is not even naturally occurring, okay? That's concerted conduct with the government. This is why you pay attention to the environment while they happen to be in your path, all right? This is that which is occurring while I'm inside of the room, and that which is impossible to hear from the 60 freeway or from Euclid Avenue, which is be within a well-documented pattern of conduct of audible activity maintained inside of this private space, okay, on a constant basis, okay, while maintaining ongoing awareness of everything that I'm doing, both physically and while I am engaged on the internet, which is a venue, okay, for purposes of SIIS legislation and for purposes of 18 U.S.C. section 2261A subsection 2 specifically. This is all that is coexisting with their presence, which is in no way idle. It is in no way coincidental, and it is in no way that which is on their behalf as an individual, where the government is monitoring you. Everything that is occurring around you is not only deliberate, it's pursuant to that pattern of conduct. It is fulfilling and satisfying that pattern of conduct, and it is pursuant to a very specific behavioral pattern, okay? All those psychopaths out there know that I am walking back from grocery outlet. They're maintaining presence. They're acting with the state and engaging and maintaining that presence, keeping me well-manned, manning their posts around me while I go from place to place, okay? And they are just a fraction of that ongoing conduct on a massive basis, okay? So the state is monitoring 24 hours a day. And as I said, as I step out the room, all I'm doing are naming those that are directly in my path as I identify them. I am surrounded on a massive scale, and the state is acting through the ongoing traffic. The state is acting through third parties that are both inside of these rooms, around in their cars, group stalking in the parking lot, just walking back and forth, which is nothing but patrolling. They are not only seen on the surveillance cameras, which, by the way, the public entity uses as a means of monitoring. Those cameras are communication devices, which more than just this venue may or may not have access to. Understand that? But guess what? Those security cameras also serve the valid and lawful and appropriate purpose of documenting what is group stalking and monitoring. Where the target individual is at, it is P.O.C. on a constant basis, and that's the significance of making sure that you document where you are, when you are there, because not for the government that's monitoring you, because they know exactly where you are and what you're doing when you're doing it. That's for purposes of prosecuting that public entity and every psychopath, sex offending group stalker through whom that government is monitoring you, okay? It is currently 10:15 p.m. and that is documentation. This is going on my podcast, but this is, again, my podcast is complimentary with, it's complemented by, it is accompanied by that which I have published in pictures, screenshots, video captures, and videos that are both published on YouTube or on my website. That is thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com, and also which I also share the totality of my documentation on my Google Share Drive, as I also publish the links to those, as I am, again, bit by bit, publishing all of my documentation in its totality, which dates back a couple years. When I became aware of it, I began serially documenting it, and now I am putting all of that up on the internet. It is showing the whole big picture, okay? And so the big picture is, first of all, there is indeed a pattern of conduct, irrespective of whatever zip code you're in, and irrespective of the particular type of venue. You are looking at elements. That is what controls. You are looking at that behavioral pattern, which also informs what is the absence of coincidence and the entirely intentional criminal and demented group conduct, which is demonic, okay, by the people of the state of California, by a government that is operating that system, that is acting vicariously through these people. That is the people of the state of California. It doesn't matter what their specific name is, their identity, their race, their ethnicity, their socioeconomic status. All of these are the false premises upon which a government that is monitoring systematically relies on, where it is monitoring, which would otherwise be that which it asserts is going to be attributed to some sort of mental disconnect by one who is asserting that total strangers are targeting in one way or another. Whether, by the way, and the ordinary target individual likely has no idea what is occurring or how they suspect it, but they're not able to put two and two together what is actually going on. And so my documentation, the big picture, the big picture is being targeted by the government and knowing that at the outset, all right? So from the beginning, my communication devices in my private home were being tampered with. The third party that I live with fully engaged in that because it wasn't me that's putting these unknown programs onto my computer. I'd never even heard of that. And by virtue of the nature of those programs placed onto my computer, for example, unbeknownst to me, this is speaking to, okay, an interest in knowing what I'm doing. Why would you put a screen share on my laptop? Obviously, you're trying to look at my screen, and then I'm not even aware of this. And so the moment that I remove this screen share, then I'm locked out of my laptop. My password all of a sudden doesn't work. Okay, so my communication devices are being tampered with, and this is followed by the ongoing logical thought that the people that are around me, namely the one living in my home, is connected to this. And this is not just an assumption. This is based on observation of conduct, of behavior that is unbecoming, that is uncharacteristic of one who wants to be identified as a mother, okay? So this is documentation of what is none other than a third party operating under the false premise that you can be related by blood, you can be under the identity of what is supposed to be a blood relative, a mother who would never engage in the type of elevate. Guess what? It's all legally irrelevant. You're looking at what are elements. You're looking at what is the facts that preface presence, activity creation, and the light, the environment, okay? And that which is absolutely impossible to coexist with nature and what nature orders, okay? And so you're looking at what is not the sun. And all you got to do is pay attention to the documentation. This is established. You're looking at what is not sunlight. And this is not only based on common sense, this is based on showing what is occurring based on what's supposed to be the sun, which is maintaining the same position all day long. Everywhere that I go, this same position, relative to me, and then this light activity, which is not in conformity to the placement of what is this light source, which is not the sun, okay? This is called directed light. This is the pattern everywhere that I'm going. And so this is speaking to, in other words, I am the targeted individual who began with the experience of having my communication devices tampered with. Okay. And again, helicopters and airplanes, not to my knowledge, were stalking me. And if they were doing it inaudibly. And again, when I'm riding the train to work to LA, when I am sitting in my apartment all day long, or all night after working all day, I'm not outside just staring at the sky. I'm certainly not hearing amplified plane activity and helicopter activity. This is not occurring. Okay. And I'm certainly, when I'm in my vehicle driving to work or driving, for example, when I'm in college, I'm going indoors to indoors. I'm not this is not even on the radar, okay? The target individual has no idea that they are being targeted under ordinary circumstances. Upon becoming aware of that which is peculiar in my own home and honing in on the uncharacteristic conduct of the third party that lived in my home, and then engaging in what is totally, outlandish and egregiously, like, absurd conduct of suddenly beginning to call the police all of a sudden. We never did that before. Don't know where that came from, but it started as soon as I noticed that my communication devices were being tampered with in a manner that I did not do, and I had no idea. And then all of a sudden I can't access my communication device after I remove this peculiar software off of my computer. And so with regard to that, this is speaking to, understand that psychopath, Tracy Banks, she's informing the pattern of conduct. She immediately goes into what is the pattern of conduct shared by those who I do not know, whose name I do not know, okay? And I want to be clear, I don't actually know Tracy Banks. You don't know the person genuinely when they're monitoring you on behalf of a government. I will posit you actually do not really know that person. You know what they present themselves as. You know that identity that you have familiarized. You're introduced to them. That this is supposed to be your parent. This is supposed to be one who loves you. But again, you do not actually know them when they are engaging in that which is a threat to your very life, to your physical safety and overall well-being. And that true identity is not revealed until the moment where you are beginning to suspect that there is foul play. That is when the true identity is revealed. And that is the pattern of conduct, as Tracy Banks is literally the first one to engage in that and abide by it. And it is that which is shared by the people of the state of California, whose names I don't know, engaging in that same identical conduct of trying to defame, where they're engaging in a pattern that is shared amongst a group everywhere that I go, including in the courts that's engaged in criminal conduct, trying to conceal the fact that they are doing the same. It is P.O.C. And so this is all tethered to what I'm speaking to. The big picture is, it is a P.O.C. by a government that is monitoring through the people. Where the government is monitoring you, it is not doing it without the people of that state. Okay, and this is isolating it to the state of California. Again, this is how a government monitors, period. This is not a race issue. This is not a Black Lives Matter issue. And many of those incidences, a lot of that is describing what is monitoring conduct. And so you're touching on side issues, but they are not, and I'm speaking to what I've seen on television, they're not touching on the main issue. Monitoring is not being addressed. The government is monitoring, and they call it everything else. They call it racial profiling. They're calling it everything else but what it is. And they're engaging in the state of California, monitoring American citizens. And I am one who, upon becoming aware of very peculiar conduct in my own home, and faced with that same peculiar conduct at my workplace, all right, at the place of worship, so-called place of worship, where they're actually engaged in that which is entirely demonic, and I'm no longer affiliated with that organization. And I was subject to it for years, unbeknownst to me. And so upon documenting it, this entity that has been monitoring me for years engages in increasingly aggressive conduct. And so my documentation, in other words, is the revealing of what is figuring out what the government is doing, because the conduct is highly peculiar. The conduct is that which is occurring amongst people whom you do not personally know, but it is conduct that is identical amongst a mass, all right? While the government's conduct, the government is an entity which is readily identifiable. The government is the one that is fully capable of stalking, and that's what that is, where you're appearing everywhere I'm at in a helicopter, where you're appearing everywhere I'm at in airplanes, regardless if it's a different logo on that plane, and the same conduct everywhere that I go, 24, that's stalking. And it does not matter that it's an entity versus some ex-boyfriend, for example, which is the traditional manner of stalking. This is identifying, and this is treating the government, this is making that government subject to that same law that any other stalker would be subject to. It does not change, okay? And I am certainly calling for that. It is absurd that a government engaging in stalking, you should call it anything other than that, because that's what it is. And so where you have what is the figuring out what the government is engaged in, and getting past what are specific identities, you're looking at their conduct. And this is that which the government relies on the individualization of group stalking and monitoring. And it is not individualized, okay? It is group conduct. And it is that which the government is doing through the people. Now, for purposes of prosecution, that's where you can slice them down. This is where the breakdown down, the implosion of that criminal monitoring and demonic system is broken down, because at federal prosecution, no one can help each other whatsoever. Okay, there is no helping in that group. You can slice them all down, and that's the significance, and that's the beauty and the value of, as I specifically identify group stalkers who are sex offenders, who are psychopaths worthy of straitjackets and federal prison. Okay, the people of the state engaged in kidnapping, all right, and criminal defamation. That is directly relevant to the prosecution and those who I have specifically identified. And this is let alone speaking to the prosecution of a government that is monitoring. Okay, and this is basically the documentation that is speaking to what the ordinary target individual is incapable of doing, not even knowing what is the significance of running around you, maybe even carrying like a flashlight or some sort of light. They don't know what this, it's weird, and they're realizing, okay, I don't know what this is about, but everybody's doing it. They don't know what is going on, and I'm speaking to what is literally the figuring out, the breaking down of what is conduct amongst a group operated by a government, and it is monitoring with communication devices. And my documentation is serving to reveal what is literally, one, a target individual who has broken down what the government has been engaged in for years. Okay, the government has only engaged in ratcheting up that aggression and that threat to my life as I consistently documented it, but documenting that which it has been doing for years. Okay, and so that is the significance of it. And every third party that I'm naming by license plate that are engaging in serial group stalking, like that license plate of those third parties, they want to continue. And my podcast and my video, my pictures are not the only form of documentation. Let me just be clear. Okay. What I am suggesting, what I am proposing is that which is a comprehensive arsenal for purposes of breaking down the government's ability to do it. Now, this is not going to stop a government from monitoring American citizens. Understand, my documentation shows the very threat that the government poses, the harm that it's actually doing to society. All right, facilitating this level of criminal conduct, of sexually violent and demented group conduct. You are speaking to what is no longer to be concealed. It's no longer a secret. You're able to fully confronted, and this is requiring the empowerment of American citizens themselves, who are no longer to be bewildered by what they're experiencing by people who they don't even know. You're not focusing on that individual. This is actually a government system. This is actually that which is being conducted on behalf of a government that is monitoring, all right? And it is identified by conduct which is identical, irrespective of the specific identity of one who may be directly in front of you, all right? And so anyway, I just want to speak to that. This is what I'm documenting. And as I step out, those group stalkers are present, facilitating that ongoing stalking conduct. The government has no intention of stopping, and they're going to continue until they are literally humiliated. And understand, I've already accomplished that by publishing that. The secret is already out, and they are engaging in literally just contributing to that which is going to be an abysmal demise. This is not going to continue, and it shall be that which will be approached on the world stage. And this is speaking to the intensity of prosecuting such conduct and the people as they are acting with that government. You hone in on the people of the state of California. You hone in on that government and the ways in which they shall suffer. That is the federal repercussions, where you're engaging in threatening the lives of American citizens, as I have experienced, and all because of the fact that they have a determination to violate the Constitution, to violate the human rights of an American citizen. All right, and on levels that, again, that S.I.I.S. Legislation seeks to fully address. But again, even S.I.I.S. legislation, understand, there is more that I have in mind that is necessary and that is fully capable of being enforced where a government is engaged in this. This is that which is satanic, all right? But understand that's relevant context. And it needs to be known the United States, the state of California, is operating under what is satanic influence. That needs to be known. The people of the state of California, it needs to be known that this is satanic conduct. This is relevant context, whether you are comfortable or familiar with that context or not. But regardless of that, understand it's entirely criminal, and it is that which shall not be in any way tolerated without the ability to, you're able to identify it, you're able to prosecute it, you're able to expose it. All right, and that is necessary. This is Erica Lorraine Spencer. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 10:30 p.m. on Thursday, April 8th, 2021. And I want to be clear, those who I document, those are just a sample. I am surrounded 24 hours a day, ongoing group stalking and monitoring on a ceaseless basis. And so as I go from place to place, I'm merely just naming names as I go about my business, and the state is engaged in ongoing monitoring with communication devices. That is the P.O.C.